this is for real the final time I'm ever going to talk about it, and I'm burying this 20 feet deep today. It's over. It's done. I'm done beating at a dead horse. Big reason why I want to do this, I mean, part of the reason why I want to do this is I want someone out there, men particularly, if any man is going through this, men and women can both definitely get something out of this, but I think with what I'm gonna get into, if the rules were flipped and this was happening to a woman, it would be much more glaring. Whereas when it's happening to a man, it's not as in your face, like, oh, something is wrong with something. It's just more so, oh, let's throw it under the rug, or be a man, don't be a pussy, don't be this, don't be emotional, right? This is very educational. I want people, and I'm gonna make an example of myself. I'm gonna be the example of what not to do. About a couple months ago, around mid-February, I started seeing this person. And okay, before I start, I want to be completely transparent in this. I was hurt. I am hurt. I'm not hurt anymore. I'm not. I look back on what I went through and I get upset with myself. Not as much anymore. It kind of still lingers with me here and there, but near the start of when we first ended it, it was really hurting me. And I'm going to be straight up about that. I mean, it really took a number on me. It had a number on me for sure. And now that I'm talking about it, it pops up in my head here and there. But yeah, I mean, I was upset about it. I was butthurt. I was salty. I was disappointed in myself. I was mad at the other person. I had all those emotions. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I mean, if she sees this, if she listens to this, she's gonna think, oh well, wow, Mo's upset. Mo's crazy. No, I wouldn't say I'm crazy, but it definitely did take a toll on me. It definitely hit my ego for sure. About a couple months ago, around February, I started talking to this woman.
Okay.
And I don't really want to give too much description and specifics about the whole situation because that's kind of irrelevant, honestly. I think that I started seeing this person. We saw each other for about a couple months. And one thing that I want people listening to understand is that nothing significant really happens. There's no banger throughout this whole thing. And you know who opened my eyes about that? It was Drake when he asked me about, okay, well, what's the catch here? Like, what happens? Is there something? Is there a climax? Is there a hook here that gets to it? No. And my point is, I want people to understand, like, these little things that happen during these situationships or relationships are valid enough to piss you off, right? Like, this other person didn't need to go cheat on me, didn't need to go fuck my best friend, didn't need to be seeing someone on the side while she's with me. It's nothing crazy like that. There's little moments that throughout this time that happened that pissed me off, and most guys are afraid to talk about it because they come off as soft and, oh, you're being a pussy, or you're being a bitch, or you're being too emotional. But I'm here to say that, bro, if you're feeling some sort of way about these things that are happening to you, and these things that I'm about to tell you are happening, you have every right to be upset. You have every right to think to yourself, what the fuck? Why am I putting myself through this? Why? All right. I'm going to give you 3 categories. First is empathy. This person lacked empathy. Okay. And you ask me, well, Mo, why do you say that? And it's honestly, I mean, I have to give experiences and examples of what happened, but there were times, man, where I would be wearing my heart on my sleeve with this person. And that's just me too. I like being emotional. I like talking about my internal things and really spilling it out, right? Because it's therapeutic to me. And this person did not show the empathy that I wanted, because I would be talking about all my things and some serious issues, and she would really just sit there and not say anything. It would be kind of a surface level one sentence type thing.
Okay.
And that was the end. That was the end of that. It was just like, okay, no, now back to my conversation, whatever we were talking about. Okay. And I remember one specific example. I was texting her about my day at work, and as you know, my job is pretty heavy, right? With the things I have to deal with and the people that I have to work with and the subject matter that I have to really deal with. And I remember that day something had happened or something. It was a really long day. And I texted her about this, talking about my day and some serious things. And I remember clearly she just said, "Oh, damn." And then kind of redirected the convo to whatever she wanted to talk about. And it was, it's with these type of things, I think it's more of a gut feeling where you have a sense of what this person's energy is really on. And I had that sense from the very start, but I just kept overlooking it. A lot of the things I want to talk about, they go hand in hand, right? Like I would talk about my day, or I would say something's bothering me. I would text her, even if it's a little thing, and she wouldn't. It really seemed like it would go over her head, right? And the best example I can give from this is, this is clear cut. I mean, I was on a double date with her, right? Me, her, and my friend and his girlfriend. And I've said this before. I had a wristband on, right? I had a wristband on from I won't tell the real story, but it is the real story, but I'm just gonna change the characters in it. This wristband was made from a friend of mine. After she made it for me, she OD'd. Okay. And I was telling this story, right? Because we were talking about, I don't really know what the context of the conversation was, but it got to that. And I remember my friend and his girlfriend saying, "Oh my God, Mo, I'm so sorry." Like that's really terrible to hear, right? Like any normal human being.
Sure.
She just sat there in silence and didn't say a word, and just continued to eat her food or whatever the fuck she was doing. Didn't even comfort me, didn't even touch my leg or touch my shoulder to comfort me or nothing like that. Now, people are going to say, "Well, Mo, what's so significant about that?" I think that is pretty significant because I just talked about something that happened to me and something that is very serious, and you had no reaction to it, right? And I'm not asking this person to sob for me and cry her eyes out and tell me how sorry she is and give me this spiel on everything's gonna be okay. No, that's too extra. But for her to just sit there and not say a word,
it's a little weird. I mean, can I ask, how long were you seeing this person?
Yeah, like I said before, about a couple months. So not long, right? And that's the part I also want to voice is, yes, because a lot of people, like a lot of dudes that I talk to or in my circle, one common denominator they're all talking about is, dude, you're only seeing her for a couple months. I mean, it wasn't that serious, but the fact of the matter is it had an impact on me. Right? No matter how long or short, how serious or not it was, it did something. And a lot of guys, I feel, a lot of people, men and women, go through these little like things or situationships thinking, well, fuck, like, why am I so upset over this, over something that was so not that serious? But I'm here to say, bro, I don't care if it's a month or 3 weeks. If it affected you, affected you. If you got hurt from it, you're hurt from it. It's okay. And I'm here saying, I'm an example saying that it pissed me off, and it was a monkey on my back for a little while. And till this day, it's kind of like when I think back on it, I'm like, damn, man, like I kind of punch myself for going through that and allowing myself to go through that, right?
Well, let me ask you this though. What are you more upset at? Are you more upset about the breakup with this person you were seeing, or are you more upset with yourself that, like you said earlier, you ignored the signs? You knew kind of what you wanted, and you had this person that seemed narcissistic and had no emotions and was cold. And are you more upset with yourself that you ignored those feelings, like you ignored your gut, you knew deep down? And I just want to know, did you actually learn anything from it?
Yeah. At the start of the time of when we ended it, like a couple weeks after we ended it, I was more upset at her and, just really pissed off at her and how she was, and thinking about,
like, because it's kind of baffling too, right? Like how could you be like this? You start asking yourself all these questions, like how could somebody be like this?
Yeah.
What leads up to being like this, having no reaction to somebody, wearing their heart on their sleeve and just being so cold like that?
Right.
What causes somebody to be like that?
Yeah, and man, she also just had no emotional intelligence. And for whoever listening, I don't know if I can label it as emotional intelligence, but from what I see, from what I went through and what I can tell you, I would say it's emotional intelligence. Like, I remember on our second date, and I'll take full responsibility for this, man. On our second date, we were in the car, we were hugging or cuddling, whatever, in front of the car. I was in the driver's seat, she was in the passenger seat. And I moved my head, and bro, why you laughing, man? Why you laughing? Because I've told this story before on the
No.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
It is cringy, but I'm here to say that it's okay. I move my head, I look at her, right? Because, naturally what you do when you move your head and someone's right beside you, look at their face, right? She says to me, what? Like, what are you looking at? Right? And me being a cornball as I am, and I'm just going to fully embrace it. I am a cornball. I'm emotional. I'm a lover boy, man. I grew up with love. I grew up with women, single mom, love my mom to death. I said to her, I had a moment. I folded. I buckled. Let's be honest. I buckled. The kid buckled for you. I said, I don't know. I don't know. I like you. Now, people can say, see, even you're laughing.
It's not the worst or most embarrassing.
No, I know, and I'm
fine.
not saying yes, but it is coming a little hot for sure. But she responded by saying something along the lines of, "Oh, tell me more." It was from a ego and cold standpoint. It didn't. She just hit me with that and didn't give me anything back. Right? Like, she didn't say anything along the lines of, she could have been nice and said,
right,
"Oh, well, thank you," or something. I don't even know. I mean, I'll take the L on that one, but
I just feel like I need a little bit more context. So you're in the car, you're in the front seat, and now when you guys were cuddling or hugging or whatever, however you put it, I mean, have you guys been intimate at that point? Like, is this like the first couple of dates? Like, where in the timeline is this? Because I'm trying to understand.
So I said it is the second date. And yeah, I mean, we've been intimate. I mean, we've kissed and had a lot of communication, I guess. And you know, we were being intimate, right? And it makes me think, yeah, I came in a little too hot, but
I don't know if it's hot. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it. I think you were trying to explain to somebody without saying, because you said second date, so
but
you're not going to say I
yeah,
love you, but you're just trying to communicate affection to somebody.
I was being affectionate, right? And
But
I think this
you can do that without words too.
Yeah,
right?
and I
Or
think
maybe you were
this-
trying to break the ice. Maybe did you sense some awkwardness there? Is that why you felt like, oh, I got to say something? Is that why?
No,
Is there an awkward
no, man,
silence?
I don't. I felt like it was a good moment to show my affection and how much I appreciate this person. I don't think that's, yeah, some dudes are gonna see this and listen to this and be like, dude, you were soft, you were cringy as hell. Yeah, I mean, I see that side of it, but I felt it was a good moment to display my affection for this person, and she just completely took it and ran with it, right? And didn't really give it back, right? And so I mean that's one example. And throughout our time seeing each other on multiple occasions, she had an issue with, she told me, point blank over text, that she hates giving compliments and getting compliments. It makes her feel weird and uncomfortable.
Really?
Now I don't know what that indicates, but I think there's some sort of trauma behind that, or some sort of child neglect. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. Like I don't want to analyze her and figure out what's
Can't say,
wrong
but
with her.
that's weird to me. That would be a warning sign.
Why
for
would it be a
me.
warning sign for you? Because this is also
Mhm.
this is also something that plays hand in hand with awareness that I'm going to get into. I remember telling her that my love language
Mhm.
is physical touch and words of affirmation, right? And she right after would say, I hate words of affirmation, or I can't handle words of affirmation. I don't like giving compliments and getting compliments. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Did you try to dig a little bit deeper? Like ask her why? Like what's the deal with that?
I mean, I think I asked her why is that, and she just didn't really get into it. Just kind of said, "Oh, I don't know. It's always made me feel uncomfortable. I don't really like it. It makes me feel weird." I mean,
I don't know I don't know very much about this person, but it sounds to me like somebody that should be in therapy. That they need to do some deep introspection, like really think. If you can't take any compliment from anybody and you don't like any signs of affection or words of affirmation, there's something deeply wrong there.
The thing is, Alex, I don't want to be on this podcast bashing her and telling her something and just going at her, because that's not the point. I don't want to. This isn't for her. This isn't from her to learn something from this or get some pointers and possibly go see therapy after this. Like, this isn't for her to seek out therapy after. I mean, I don't care what she does, right? But I'm just trying to make it very clear and bring it to light that these things that happen, these little moments of, oh, what was that? Oh, what was that? Are justified in the other person feeling some sort of way about it, right? And the devil is in the details, man. I mean, looking back on our time and even going through the texts, I did that a couple times, early on when we ended it, and it was it was shocking how stone cold she was, right? I mean, she would say things just to say things, right? And the conversation always reverted back to her. right? And it was
So she didn't really show any signs as you guys were dating. Uh, she didn't really show any signs of interest. Like,
she
did she
did.
ask
No,
you
I mean,
questions about your life
she
and what
did.
you're
No,
interested in? Like,
she did, man. But I think she would do that just to do it, just to because it's etiquette. She didn't really mean it. She didn't really care.
but you don't know that. You're projecting on her. You don't really know that.
Well,
for a fact.
Based on how the whole thing went and how she really was, I can sit back and think back on it and say, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things like she had no awareness, man. Like we went to a basketball game for one of our dates, right? I took her to a high school basketball game because there was a bunch of kids that I coached, and it was the finals of some tournament. And I remember, and there was a lot of people in the crowd, and I remember her visibly distressed. Like she was visibly nervous or overwhelmed about something, right? And I could see her mind just going boopy boo boo chee, like malfunctioning, right? She was lights out. And I kept asking her, me being that guy, I kept asking, like, what's wrong? Are you okay?
She doesn't like crowds, man.
What's okay, but that's fine. But she just wouldn't communicate that with me.
Right, okay.
It was as if I was talking to, and I don't want to, disrespect this person, but it was as if I was talking to a wall. Because for me, I'm very in tune with human emotion, I think, and I think with body language especially, I can sense something is off when it happens.
And it's probably frustrating for you because you're obviously, I mean, I know you enough to know that you are a very communicative person. You like to, so it must be frustrating for you when you're going out with someone who's the complete opposite of that, who it's like, let's have a dialogue here. And when you're not getting anything back, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, and I'm not saying...
Because, like, how can you fix a problem? If it's something with me, you need to tell me.
Like,
and if you're not willing... Exactly.
Exactly. What is going on in this moment? Tell me. It's okay, right? Like, if she was to tell me, oh, I feel overwhelmed by the amount of people here, or I really didn't want to go to a basketball game with you, or...
Well, because you could do something with that.
Yeah, just tell me so we can figure it out, right? But when you're not responding and you're not really giving anything, you're not giving me anything to work with, it becomes tough. And then I start overthinking myself. Like, what am I? Is there something about me? Is it because the whole time after that, I kept saying, dude, like, were you okay at the game? Because and she just kept saying, oh yeah, it's just, I haven't been to a basketball game in a while. Okay, well, what does that even
There's probably
really mean?
More to it.
Yeah, okay, like, what does that really even mean, right? And so I don't think the awareness was there. And another thing on awareness, this is kind of when I knew that this person's not very present in her day-to-day, and her mind is very scattered, and comes back to her self-centeredness as well, is that we were on that double date, and my friend, one of my best friends, he's from Gibsons, okay, and he was talking about how he grew up in Gibsons, and that's his hometown. He went to high school there. And she mentioned the fact that she has two houses, or a house in Gibsons, and she used to go there every summer just to visit, and that was her summer place to go and all that. And then right after that, she says, kids from Gibsons are so weird. Kids that grew up in Gibsons, they're so weird. And in my head, I'm thinking, my friend point blank just said to you about 35 seconds ago that he grew up in Gibsons all his life. You go and say that. So
You
I
put,
don't I can't.
Did you put her on the spot? Like weird?
No, I mean I
Weird
didn't
how?
even know what to say because it was so out of pocket and it was so. What you did you not just hear what my friend told you? Are you trying to be that person right now, or are
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
totally lights out?
Yeah.
Are you going? Is there nothing going on there where you? And then I just looked at my friend, and gave him a little glance, like, well, I don't know, you know. I mean, that's another piece of awareness, and then you know another thing that night, my friend's girlfriend, she was we were making conversation. I don't know how the topic came on to um word or love language, and she asked me, "Oh, Mo, what's your love language?" And I said, "Physical touch and words of affirmation." And me and this other person have had that talk before, right? And then she asks, um, the person I'm seeing, what do well, I should give her an initial or something. Just she okay. My friend's girlfriend asked her, and she says, "I like physical touch, but I hate words of affirmation." Right, and I think that shows complete um it shows a complete lack of emotional intelligence and awareness by basically disrespecting me in front of my friend and his girlfriend by saying that right after the fact that I just said
Right. I hear you.
I like that's my thing. I like words of affirmation and physical touch, and then you go ahead and say I
Hmm.
hate words of affirmation
Yeah.
and and giving compliments and giving
Yeah.
compliments.
So she's immature, really immature.
And there's
You
nothing
guys,
followed up
you are
after that. It was
very clearly not at the same maturity level as that person. Totally, total 100%. I know you're hurt about the breakup and stuff like that, but the reality is you were totally not right for each other. You were not at the same level, right? And it's that person was not right for you at that moment.
yeah. And what really set me off again, and these are little things that I need to talk about, and um, because it's nothing major. That's the thing where people are probably gonna listen to this and be like, "What the fuck?" Like these are just very small compared to what this person could have done, but it was throughout time. It was throughout this, and it was little jabs, right? And I remember that night before we went to the double date, I had gone to her house, right? Because the plan was for me to go to her place, go for a run because she was training for the marathon, and then I would come back to her place and shower, and then we'd go to a double date. Now, this also leads to my next. This all goes hand in hand with the awareness and the emotional intelligence. Okay, so it's my first time at her place, right? Like, I mean, I'm a guest there, and she lives with her roommate. Okay, um, okay. So as soon as I walk in, she's completely off. Something's off. Her energy's off. She's being standoffish, being distant. Something's off, and I know it, right? But her being closed off, to say the least, she wasn't communicating anything, right? She wasn't telling me what was going on, and I was starting to get in my own head, right? When someone does that to me, I start overthinking. I'm starting to get overwhelmed of, okay, what is this something I did? What's the deal here, right? What's the biz? What's the fucking biz here? Give me the biz, man, for God's sakes. So I said, whatever. All right, we go for a run. We come back, and I take a shower. Her roommate comes home, right? Now, I'm in an awkward position, right? And this comes back to the awareness piece. I'm just standing and sitting in the living room. I've never been to her house, right? I'm a guest here. I feel awkward. Her roommate's here, and she's in the other room just doing her makeup, just like being distant. And I'm just like, Jesus fuck, like this is what the hell is going on? Something is up. So what I do is I go to the room, I pull up a chair next to her while she's doing her makeup and her hair. Now, if you don't understand this, it's hopeless. I can't help you. I pull up my chair next to her just to be close to her, right? To have that connection, that physical connection, that emotional connection with her, to maybe, touch her or comfort her or whatever. She looks at me and says, in this tone, she says,
Yeah.
"What are you doing?" Now,
that's never good. Yeah, you don't want that.
When you say that,
right,
you don't get it. I can't help you. I can't help you with that anymore. It's fucking toast. Right? Like I shouldn't be
born here from Vancouver. Like, does she think she's in the Mean Girls movie?
I mean, dude, I don't know
why people talk like
I mean,
that.
if you don't understand why I pulled up my chair next to you just to have that close proximity and that physical connection, then I can't help you. It's completely hopeless, right? And that's a thing, man. And even at the end when I did end it, over the phone, I was just, I was choked up the whole day because I texted her in the morning. I told her that I was gonna. Well, I told her, can we talk on the phone, right? She got the memo. She got the point, right? And we called later that evening, and I was on the phone. I was pretty choked up the whole time. Again, I'm an emotional guy, right? And the whole time, I mean, I didn't say anything for the first 30 seconds, but I just couldn't get the words out. Even at the last moment, her self-centeredness, she took the wheel and started to go with it. She said, "Oh, I feel like I know where this is going. My head's in the same place. A few days ago or about a week ago, I realized that, we were on different phases in our lives. And when you asked me if I'm going out next weekend, I sense hesitancy from you, which is, I'm not going to get into that, but it's like, dude, it's such a bullshit. I'm not going to get into it. I'm really not.
Well, I think that...
But hold on.
Okay, can I finish?
She took the wheel. She couldn't stomach the fact that I was going to end it. So she went from the standpoint of, I'm quitting. You're not firing me. Right. She couldn't just let me talk about it or start off. And that was a bit of a ego thing with her, I guess, too. But, yeah, I mean, dude, it's, I could get into more things, but I think the reason why I was hurt about it for quite a bit after was I had created this image in my mind of what this person could be, right? And she's not that person. She's not.
Right.
She's just she's someone that lacks empathy, that lacks emotional intelligence and awareness. And people can say, she's a bit younger, but I don't think that's really an excuse. I mean, yeah, you are different when you are a bit younger, but
yeah, but that's a factor, but it's not always the reason why people are the way they are. I mean, I have a lot of questions. You just said, I painted this picture of who I thought this person could be, but I'm just curious, in the early days, like, how did you actually meet this person? Did you use online dating? And if you used online dating, didn't you read I don't know how much information was on the profile, but don't you get a sense of who that person is, what they like, what they don't like, what they want in somebody else? Like, did you have, going into it, how much did you know about compatibility, or did you just kind of figure that out as you went along?
To answer your question, no. I mean, you can't really tell from a dating profile. I mean, could you? Come on, Alex. Could you?
Well, that's you got to meet people in real life, I think,
Yeah.
but a dating profile, I mean, if it's fairly complete, should give you a sense of what they don't like. I mean, I don't know about other people, but
Okay,
for
so
me, like I put all my cards on the table. Like I'm going to tell you, I don't want kids on my dating profile.
right. Okay, so
Just as
to
an example.
communicate that with you, to answer your question, yeah, we did talk about what we want. She was claiming that she's more of a relationship type girl, and I'm in a place where I want a relationship. I don't want these little hookups or flings or whatever. And that kind of, I want to talk about that because it's actually a good segue into this, is that the reason why I think I overlooked all these things about her is that I was in a place, I had just moved out. Okay. I've moved out for about, I think it's been 2 years now. When I moved out, I told the people around me, I was very communicative about this, is that I'm past the point of having these random things with nothing attached to them, right? Like I'm done with that. That shit ain't fun for me no more.
No
It's
substance.
it's too much effort.
Yeah.
I actually feel like I wasted time doing it. It's not productive. So I told people, like, yeah, I want someone there for me. I want someone that is gonna ride or die beside me, right? And one thing about me is, like, I either don't give a fuck at all, like I do not care about what you do, or I'm all in. So I gave this person a chance, and this is the part that bothers me. I gave it up for free to the wrong person, because I kept, a lot of times I remember talking to her, and she would talk about, I'm going to try to say this as respectfully as possible. She would talk about things that were very surface level, at least for me, very basic. And in every hangout, in every conversation we had in text or in person, I kept trying to, like, grab onto things. Oh, like, that was cool. Ooh, that was funny. Oh, I like that. To justify the fact that I'm staying with this person, or I'm gonna give this person another chance, right? Like I was really advocating for her. I was really on her side to, okay, like, ooh, that was kind of cool. She said that. Ooh, that was funny. Oh, that was a little bit intellectual. I like the way she thinks about that. But it was very minimum, and didn't come out as much as I wanted. And I'm not asking for much, and I don't want to again talk about how she was, but
And how old are you?
28.
Okay. And when's your birthday? Are you turning 29 soon? When do you?
I turned 29 in November.
Okay. Well,
what's
I think that's part of it too. I think because you're past.
No, here, dude.
You don't think that's part of it?
Age is.
I mean, seriously, think about how you felt. Try to think about how you felt, your lifestyle, your thinking, what you wanted to do on Friday night, Saturday night when you were 22, 23. And think about it now.
Fine.
There's a difference. You can't tell me there isn't a difference.
No, lifestyle's fine. Like, yeah, she'd love to go out all the time. That is a bit. I have my own opinions on that. I have my own things. I don't want to get into it, but I was willing, and I talked about this on the episode that we're not airing out. I was willing to overlook all that going out part if she made me feel wanted. I didn't feel like I was wanted at any point during the relationship. I didn't feel like,
and that seems like that's the one bare minimum thing that you need, right?
And I'm not. People are gonna think,
everybody
oh,
wants
you're
that.
overreacting. We don't really know the ins and outs of it. But I would show my buddies the texts and tell them about her, and they were all telling me, dude, get out now. This person does not care. You're just someone that she's having on the side as like a little like as a handbasket just to have with her, and you're just this piece of thing that she likes to have on the side, right? And looking back on it now, it makes total sense. Oh man, there's just so many examples on it.
Yeah. So I know one of the reasons I kind of want to go back to this because I think this is really important. Our audience is primarily slants to the male gender, right? So people around your age in their 20s, what are you hoping that they get out of this when they listen to this? And then I want you to talk about what you actually learned from this too, because I think that's important.
What I want people to know about this, specifically men and women can get a lot out of this. But I think for men, there is a narrative. If we do come out and talk about these things, we're pussies, we're soft, But I want men to listen to this and use me as an example that it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to wear your heart on your sleeve. It's okay and do all that. And if the other person isn't appreciating that and valuing it and really standing by your side and reciprocating the affection, that's enough for you to end it. Like it doesn't need to be this thing where she cheats on you or goes out and talks to another guy or blatantly disrespects you by saying something out of pocket. It can be little jabs. It can be little what the fuck was that moments. Like these are things that are okay, right? And I also want men to know that it's okay to be upset over it after. Like, because I feel like a lot of guys suppress it, and it gets to a point where they just start hating women, and it's like they get this weird,
100%.
like,
That does happen.
they get this
That's the
weird
thing.
incel vibe. Fuck all that, bro. Like, it's okay to fucking feel like you got
Yeah.
done wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like I got done wrong because I clearly gave my attention and my affection to someone that is a complete NPC and a basic person. And that's the only disrespect I'm going to give this person. And everything I've ever talked about on this, I would tell straight to her face. I would tell it straight to her face, no shame, nothing held back. I swear on God, on Christ Almighty, I'll tell her this. But I know for a fact, and this is how I know this person. And here's another thing, and I don't know. I don't want to stir shit up, but she's got a bunch of yes men around her. She's got friends around her that are telling her, "Oh, this is okay. Do this. Act like that. Be that." Right? And all I'm going to say is, I mean, she's told me some things about her friends that don't make her friends look very good. Right? And that in itself is a bit of an awareness issue. She's spilt some things about her one particular friend to me, and if they listen to this, I encourage her friend to really think about where they stand in the friendship.
Mhm.
But that's neither here or there. I mean, I don't really care.
Well,
I have my own opinions about her friend
Yeah.
that I cleared out before, but
Well, I just wanted to say too that
yeah, I mean, can I say one more thing? Sorry, Alex.
yeah,
And
sure.
you can go on with this. I'm sitting here and I'm fully admitting if this person watches this, yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was butthurt and salty and down bad because of this situation. But I'm here talking about it and I'm accepting the fact that I went through that, and I still am disappointed in myself for putting myself through that, because I promised myself a long time ago that I wouldn't ever put myself through this again with the last person I was seeing seriously, or the last relationship I had. And it's uncanny how similar those two were in terms of just their mannerisms, the hobbies they were into, and the sports they played. Like it was pretty uncanny. So I mean, that was something that I always like thought about during our thing. And yeah, man, it's okay because she's probably gonna listen to this, or whoever's gonna listen to this, they're gonna be like, oh, well, dude, Mo, you saw her for a couple months and it wasn't even that serious. Sure, I get that, but it's okay for me to still be upset. It's okay for me to still think about it and have it linger a little bit. It doesn't linger as much, but like I still pops out in my head here and there. I'm like, ah, fuck, like, damn, like I took an L there, right? Like it's okay. It's okay, man, to feel emotional. What were you gonna say, Alex?
Well,
Sorry.
there's a bunch of things because when I'm older than you by quite a bit, so and actually this just what you just said just triggered some memories about breakups and just dating in general in my 20s now because I'm in my early 40s. So, and I just remember not sometimes certain dates would just or certain breakups would just linger, and I had a hard time for whatever reason getting over them and moving on. And I think that's also an important lesson from this too, is that we just as people and this gets better when we get older too, but we got to get better at just moving on. And it also comes with age too. It's way easier for me now because I know what I'm looking for, so it's far easier for me to just I'm just way better at vetting people, and it's also I realize it's also easier for me to say this now, but if I went on a few dates with someone like that, like the person that you dated, after 3 dates, probably maybe not even 3 dates, 2 dates, I would have just walked away. I would have just said, "No, I don't care how good looking this person is." It's because I look at people holistically as a human being, and I know very quickly when people start talking whether or not I'm actually going to enjoy being around them. Right. Yeah. And you just get better at that over time. And there's something very liberating too when you get older and you just don't care.
Yeah.
Like I know what I want and I'm going to put all my cards on the table. And this is why I was asking you about dating profiles, because I'll put a lot of information on my dating profile because I want people to know a lot about me. Now, of course, part of the fun of dating people in person is, you uncover a lot more. But also with online dating, because you don't know that person, I think you should put as much information out there as possible, right? And I want people to know. I mean, because I think for me, there's certain deal breakers. Like Mo, you probably have deal breakers, right? Like there's certain things.
There were so many. Yeah, right? I mean,
like do you talk about that?
Yeah, I'll say this. Going into this thing, I came from a place of feeling lonely and being a bit desperate to have that connection. So I kept putting everything on the back burner when these things were happening. I kept justifying them. I kept overlooking them. I'm here to say that it does not matter how badly you want to be with someone or how badly you want to have that connection. If there are things pissing you off about this person, get out. You asked me what I learned from this. I learned that I would rather be alone for the rest of my life than to be with a person that gives me these anxieties and has no emotional intelligence whatsoever. I would rather die alone.
Right.
I would, and I told my mom
that's a bit.
I don't care. I'm not starting a family with anyone. I'm not having the mother of my child be like that.
Right.
I'm not putting my kids through that. I'm not putting myself through that because.
Well, why do you think so many marriages fail, right? A high percentage of marriages fail because they go into these relationships thinking that they can fix somebody, right? It's a problem. I did this too. I'm totally guilty of this. I go into a relationship as a problem solver, right? Because that's who I am. That's how I think.
Okay.
I go in, it's like, I'm going to go in and fix this problem. And the reality is you can't always do that.
So,
and that's just that's a flawed way of getting into it.
Yeah. So that's one thing I'm glad you bring that up. I kept thinking of ways to get to this person. I kept trying to find ways to connect with this person on a deeper level. But it just wasn't happening. Whether it's her having a wall up, whether it was her trauma not allowing her to be as vulnerable as she can be, or she's just basic
Right.
and just is incapable of that. And I have my own opinions on it. I'm not gonna tell you what I think it is, but
It's futile. It's like pushing a boulder uphill. It's not a battle you're going to win.
And it's something that's, I can't save that person. It's not my responsibility to get her to realize what she's doing. I can't force this person to give me words of affirmation here or there. I would set things up. I remember complimenting her, a few times, and she would not even acknowledge it. And if she did, it was a very quick, like, oh, haha, yeah, and then just go back to whatever she was talking about, right? We never got into, we never really got cute and flirty and corny, and it's okay to be corny. And I kept, even after, this is another thing, even after we ended things, I kept thinking, well, why is she like this? Why is she so unempathetic? Why is she so emotionally unintelligent? Why is she so
Can I be honest?
unaware of things?
Maybe,
but it's not my job. It's not me. It's
Yeah.
not me to save her. She is who she is. I can't force her to be something she's not. I can't.
Did you ever think that maybe she was going through the same thing you were? She had this idea of who you were as a person, but then she was just in denial, and you both were in denial.
No, man,
right?
I was really, for people that know me, I was really being myself. I'm a goofball. I like to talk. I'm emotional. I'm corny, right? I'm lovey-dovey, certified lover boy. People always tell me, "Oh, Mo, you give me certified lover boy vibes." I do. I am. I embrace it. I play that role. That's just me, bro.
Right, but I'm saying is maybe she's clearly not. Because what I'm saying is because she's not like that. She lacks the emotional intelligence. She doesn't like words of affirmation.
I'm not okay. Yes.
What I'm saying is she wasn't looking for someone like you, right? Maybe she's looking for someone who's more like her, like more distant, more aloof, more cold. Like not. Doesn't crave all as much as attention, right? I'm not saying her behavior is healthy, because I think she's got some issues there. But I'm just saying maybe that is the case.
Yeah,
and you weren't the right fit.
Well, my buddy said it best, because I was really thinking about who would want to be with her, and this is no disrespect to her. I'm not trying to call her out or expose her or anything, but what guy that has emotional intelligence and has awareness wants to do with that? And my buddy said one thing, just another basic person that's going to be basic with her for the rest of their lives together. And it's sad, because I think that it always seemed as if she was thinking. She was always in her head, in the car, at my house, walking. It was as if she was overanalyzing every single moment, thinking about the potential risks in that moment, whatever. I don't know if that's a trauma thing. I don't know what that is. But again, it's not for me to figure out and force out of her. I can't force her to be someone she's not. I can't force this person to be empathetic or emotionally intelligent and give me words of affirmation. Bro, like
I'm glad you realized that.
Bro, I literally texted her. We talked about it over text. Yo, this is my thing. I like that. And she said to me, okay, I'm going to keep that in mind and work on it. If we get to that point where I'm telling you what I want and what I like, I should have just ended it right there. But I just kept prolonging the inevitable, because from what I was thinking about before, I don't want to be alone, right? And that was a big part of, that was one of the tough parts about letting go was, damn, I got to be on myself again, right? And just the bare minimum of having someone there saying good morning to me, good night, texting me after work, telling me that she's going to text me later. Like, having that was the bare minimum. And I was okay with that. And I'm here to say No, don't. If that is what you're holding on to, if you're going through something that is giving you the utmost anxiety and is not fulfilling and is not aligned with your values and what you want out of a person, get out now. Get out. Don't do this to yourself. Just the bare minimum of that person texting you and being there for you and having someone there is bull crap. Like, you don't, that's not what you deserve. That's not what you need.
That's good advice.
You got to hold yourself to a higher standard. And if that means you got to be alone for the rest of your life, man, it is what it is. Like, I'm okay. I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than put myself through something like that again. And another part of me that's so disappointed in myself and I lingered on for a while is because I made this promise to myself years ago when I had to go through the same thing that I went through, but on a much larger scale. I promised myself and I broke that promise to myself when I got into this little 2-month thing. And that's why I think it's lingered on as much as it has.
Well, it sounds like you learned something too. I mean, and so I guess my question is, as we wrap here, the next date that you go on, when you start to see these signs early on after say 2-3 dates, what are you going to do? How does this change how you're going to interact with people?
Before I thought I knew what I wanted, but now I really know what I don't want. I think I've taken that angle going into dating now. It's not even about what I want anymore. It's what I don't want. Oh my God. I don't want to go through talking to someone that's just saying things just to say things, just to hear herself speak and just to fulfill her own thing that she's going through and to ground herself, right? I'm going into dates now or whoever I end up being with knowing that these are things I don't want. And there's no justifying it anymore. Like, if these things do come up early on, done. Because I'm not gonna sit there and be like, okay, well, maybe in a few more dates this person's gonna change, or in a couple days after she's a little bit more comfortable, this person's gonna change. No, that's never the case. That's never the case, because a lot of times I'm like, okay, like a couple more hangouts, she'll open up more. A couple more of these, she'll change for me. No, you're not changing that person. You're not changing that person. That person is stuck where they are. And that's that. I mean, I don't have the time to wait and for her to like figure herself out and figure out what she wants to do in her life and get all that. It's like, no, bro. Like, you either kind of have an idea what's going on, or you don't. And I'm not sitting around waiting for you to figure it out, whether you go see therapist or whatever. But I can't save you, and I'm not here to wait for you to change, and I'm not going to wait for you to figure it out. Maybe this person will figure it out. Maybe this person will change, right? But I don't have the time to, I don't have the emotional capacity and the mental space to wait and just drag this on until she figures it out. No, it's not that. And it's funny, I don't know. I mean, if she sees this, she sees it. If she doesn't, I don't really give a shit. But I guarantee you, if she sees this, she's going to watch it with her friends or listen to it with her friends and think, oh my God, Mo's so fucking crazy. Mo's, look at Mo, he's not over me. Hey, I don't really know what getting over someone really means.
Guarantee you she's not watching this
situation.
podcast. She's not watching this podcast.
She's not?
No.
Okay, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
You're good.
I'm not over the fact that I put myself through that again and I accepted all these little things that happened, and it was, I just felt like I lost again, and that's okay to feel that way. It's okay that you took to feel like that you took an L in this. I really do feel like I took an L, that I lost this game. I lost this one. I lost this round, right? To someone that didn't even really know what her next hour was going to be like, right? And I felt like I got used, I felt like I got manipulated, and I feel like this person has a hard time talking about her emotions, whether she's incapable or she's just putting on a front. Again, it doesn't matter, but for anyone listening, men or women, if you're going through something that you feel deep down in your gut that something is off and this person's not aligning with what you need, right? And it's okay to go get different opinions from other people, a third a third party's opinion on it, because sometimes you get a little too in your own head and you blow things out of proportion. But for the most part, your instinct is right, and stop trying to justify the things that other person's doing or not doing. Just get out of it. If things aren't jiving with you, man, if you're not vibing with it, you don't need anyone to tell you anything. Just end it. Just
And I think
do yourself a goddamn favor, man.
What I'm hearing you say too is that you should really trust your gut. This is about trusting your instincts, right? Like you know deep down, there's a part of you telling you that there's something wrong here, and you should probably listen to that. And we're not always very good about listening to that, right?
Yeah. And I mean, one more example I'll give. This, I think, goes into emotional intelligence and maturity, because I didn't even get into maturity because I think that would just be me rinsing her out for another hour, but we're past that. We're bigger than that. Was the only time I really saw her get excited about something and talking about something was when she told me that her friend, who's also her roommate, we were on a run. She was telling me how her roommate is on a date with a guy as we speak that she doesn't like, and she doesn't even want to be with the guy, but she's only on that date to get free food and free drinks. Right? And that's and that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but that just kind of showed me what energy she was on at all times. I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't really want to get into, but she told me, yeah, like, oh, my friend, they're at the local right now, and she's on a date with a guy that she finds really weird and this and that, but we told her to go on a date with him because he can get free food and free drinks. And apparently they were watching the Canucks game, and if the Canucks won, that he was gonna take her to the game. Right.
Okay, so I just want to say that is, I know people that have done this, and that is flat out garbage. That is an awful thing to do. Just don't waste that person's time and money. That's just really, it's just a rotten, I'm going to say this is a fucking rotten personality of people think that is okay to do to somebody.
Yeah. And
just move on. Just go see somebody else. Don't waste that person's time.
Yeah. But you see how this is all coming together, like the whole going out part every weekend, and her telling me about this story and her getting excited and almost bragging about this story. Kind of, you see where her mind is at and how she operates, how she moves in this world, right? And being associated with that person. And I mean, she told me a few other things about her, but
you dodged a bullet.
Dude,
I'm just gonna say it. You dodged a bullet.
I've heard a lot of people have told me I've dodged a bullet. I mean, that's the common theme between everyone I've told this story to. And if you're on that energy, man, and I don't want to turn this episode into us just criticizing her and judging her for who she is. I mean, she is who she is, and I feel like she knows that she is scattered and not present and kind of just floating through life. I'm here to say that, and I don't want to get into that, but I'm just here to say that she did hurt me. She did hurt me in the way she carried herself, and and how open I was with her, and she just didn't reciprocate any of that affection or awareness back. And final words is, I'm just here to say that it's okay to be upset over that, and it's okay for even a month later to just think about that still, right? And to be upset about the fact that you went through that. It's okay, right? There's nothing soft about it. I'm at the point where I'm just kind of like, damn, like I'm why the fucked up, Mo. You got done wrong there, right? And that's on me. It's on me. I take full accountability. She is who she is. Hope she figures it out.
Well, and you are who,
and I am who I am.
Who you are, and
I don't think anything I did from what people have told me. I mean, all the people around me keep it 100 with me, right? They don't sugarcoat shit. They tell me if I'm offside or I'm overreacting about something, but they've all told me that this person is just a lot of things she's dealing with on her own, and it's not my job to figure it out or connect to it in some way.
I hope this helps somebody too.
I hope it does.
Listening.
If you feel the slightest bit of, oh, what's going on? What is that? I don't really like that. What was that? Dude, you don't need to justify it. You don't need to wait along. You don't need to, prolong the inevitable. You don't need to keep milking it and see if you can change this person. This person is who this person is, and it is what it is. People are gonna say, "Oh, Mo's still hurt about it." Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm not hurt about her. I don't really think about her. I'm hurt about myself and how I went through that, and I thought I was better than that, but that's okay. That's okay. Another bump in the road, but fuck it, we ball.
Well, that's how we learn, right? You gotta make mistakes. You gotta make mistakes in order to learn, right? So it's better that you went through that, because it's gonna be better next time, right?
And is anything I said, be honest, Alex, before we end it, me explaining this person to you, do I sound like I'm overreacting to anything, or I'm taking things too sensitively?
No, I don't think so. I think you have good intentions. I guess my only concern is the fact that you wanted to publicly talk about it, but I think that I understand where you're coming from, and hopefully somebody out there, whoever's listening, who's gone through that or is going through that, maybe they'll learn something from this too. I think the bottom line is that everybody can learn something from everybody. We can all learn. I think it's good to talk about stuff like that, so we can share our experiences and hopefully learn from each other as well, and hopefully not repeat those mistakes, right? Like, I don't think, 100% honesty, I don't think you're going to make those mistakes again, right?
I mean, I said that to myself damn near 6-7 years ago when I threw myself back into that.
Yeah, but you're older now. I think it's going to happen less and less over time.
And it's going to take less time for me to
exactly
can it. Yeah.
Exactly. Actually, that is the key right there. I think what you just said is super important, is that as time goes by, as you fast approach 30 and get into your 30s, you're going to find, I'm telling you this, you're going to find that you recover a lot quicker. And going back to what you said earlier in the episode about, what you don't want in somebody, and you're going to narrow in, I think you're going to laser focus in on those things about yourself and what you want in somebody else. Yeah. And I think things will get better.
Yeah.
It's just, I just don't want people to think this is like all doom and gloom, right? Because I think a lot of us, I think especially men in their 20s, have a lot of problems with relationships and with dating in general.
It's
right?
This whole toxic masculinity, Andrew Tate shit, like, fuck that bitch, she ain't shit, her loss, yeah, all that. You can go, if that helps you, go about it, but if you're hurting, if you're deep down really emotional about it, be emotional about it, man. Because if you suppress that, you're gonna turn into this weird incel dude where you just kind of shut yourself off. I'm not like that, bro. I'm fully taking ownership of the fact that I was hurt. And when she ended it, I remember she was just so nonchalant about it. She was like, "Oh yeah, we gave it a shot and it didn't work out. You'll find someone that's good for you. I'll find someone that's good for me. You know, we had a good time hanging out with you, but it is what it is." Right? Which also comes back to the fact that you just have, I don't know, whether you're putting on a front or this mask on, or you're just a sociopath. I don't know, but it is what it is. Can't help that person. Hope she figures it out, because she knows, but it's not my job. Done. Finito.